got you interested in coaching?
Um, I always, in video games, I always just like progressing,
Sure.
and I kind of just, obviously like Overwatch, and I kind of hit a big plateau, and I was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and
Hmm.
I feel like I can't like see it from an outside perspective. So,
Yeah, it's always hard
and I,
to.
yeah, I saw your
Yeah.
videos. I was like, seems like a good option.
Sure. Okay. Sounds good. How long have you been playing?
I think it was like like the season right before Malga came out.
Sorry
Um,
to hear that.
but yeah, yeah. Um,
Okay. What got you into the game
yeah.
initially?
I think my boyfriend and our friends were playing, and they invited me one day to play. So I did, and then I kind of kept playing ever since.
Sure. Okay. Sounds good. I see that you, at the time of the form, were more of a hit scan, Sojourn Cassidy. Is that still the case?
Yes, that's still the case.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. So this maybe that was also what kept you sane during the amalgam meta, because I think those both those
Yeah.
characters felt pretty good. Okay, so Sojourn Cassidy, I hope to be shown what I'm doing wrong. That's causing me to not rank up. I feel like I have potential for a higher rank, but I'm not seeing the progress as quickly as I would like. And later in the forum, you talk about I do watch a lot of coaching, so I feel like I have a grasp of what I ought to do, but I do have a hard time applying it. So talk me through that a little bit, because that's a common problem.
Yeah, it's like when I'm watching like other VODs, of like other people, I can so clearly see I'm like, well, you should be doing this. But then
Yeah,
when it comes to my own, I'm either like, what in the world am I doing? Like,
yeah.
or I'm like, well, I completely understand why I did that, so I don't know why
Ah,
I
that's always
like
the
other
catch, right?
options.
There's always a
Yeah,
reason behind the stupidity, right? That was
yeah,
something that I ran into when I first started VOD reviewing. Is I was like, and this is somebody that was like, I was actively coaching at the time, right? This was like 7 years ago, but um, I would be like, well, I did this because of this. I'm very rarely did. I mean, I would point out the errors where I was like, I did that for no reason. I should probably not do
yeah,
that. But the vast majority of errors, or even just lack of value that I was getting, had a reason. I was doing this, so obviously. The question is not whether there was intention behind those errors necessarily, although that's sometimes the case. It's whether that makes statistical sense doing that. Is there more value to be found elsewhere? And
yeah.
that's going to be our challenge for today. But obviously, in the moment, recognizing that is really, really hard. Now,
Yes, I agree.
when you came to Sojourn Cassidy, what about those characters kind of appealed to you? Maybe not initially, but what did you end up settling on them for?
Um, I always just find aim really rewarding.
Yep.
So
Yep.
hit scan, Cassidy with the
Yeah.
headshot, the dinks, it's really
Yeah. Yeah.
satisfying.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And
Um,
I played Soap before, everyone said she's absolutely broken, so I found joy in her before that. Just
I mean, she's hard to pick up. So, I mean,
mm,
whether she's broken or not, it still requires a base level mechanics that a lot of people do not have. So, you should never feel bad about it.
yeah.
Let's see here. Play sessions. You're on console. At the time of the form, you were gold. Is that still the case?
Currently plat 2.
Ah, you're a wizard. What happened? What did you get better at? Do you
Um,
know?
Honestly, I don't know.
Ah, you should know. That's very common. I'm going to give you a hard time, but you should know.
Yeah.
Do you suspect anything? Because it's probably a lot of little
Um,
things.
it's probably a lot of little things. I think the thing I'm kind of most conscious about when in a game
Hmm.
is obviously kind of being at an off angle and trying to time it right.
Ah,
And
see, you
so,
do know what you got better at. Good
yeah,
stuff.
but I don't know how much I actually successfully apply that, like,
Wow,
it's,
14.7%, I can tell by how much you ranked up. So, yeah, ranking up is like a spectrum, right? So, like, you made some
yeah,
progress, at least being more aware of timing and more aware of angles. And so, okay, good stuff. Congrats. And probably also mechanics, because consistently playing is going to help with that as well. So, nice job. Nice job. I mean, that's huge. Like, you were officially a significantly above average player. That's awesome. Well done.
thank you.
Playtime. What is
Um,
your current training playtime? What is it planning to look like in the future? Break me down all the details.
So I'm in school,
Mhm.
but I have time for probably around like I usually do like one at least an hour, 2 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've been playing a lot of 6v6 though, so I
Mm-hmm.
haven't been playing that much role queue, just
Are you
being with
still
friends, you know.
training? Are you still training, or is it
Yeah.
just more casual?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really I'm not really a casual player, like I have fun doing well.
Yeah, I
So,
understand that. I understand that. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. But it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours a day of playing
yeah.
Sojourn Casti with some level of intensity.
Yeah, Soj, Cass, Ash, those are my main three.
Ooh, Ash, Ash. When did Ash come in? Why did Ash come in? And what's the percentage breakdown of the three?
Um, Ash has always kind of been there, but
Ah, okay.
I just don't really play her as much, and not that I'm not as used to her, but I just kind of always pick those two first over her.
Okay.
Um, because when comparing like Ash to Soj, range is pretty much the same, but Soj has so much more mobility that
Yeah.
I kind of just
Yeah.
she's usually a better pick on like
Yeah.
those long range maps where I
Yeah.
wouldn't pick Cass.
Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, your logic holds up. I would say Ash has slightly better range because you're not relying off of
Yeah,
the rail for the range. And I think Ash also, when you're not forced to move very much or don't have as much positional flexibility, she's just going to do more damage. Like I hate to
for
measure
pressure.
things in
Yeah,
terms of pressure. It really is just more. But they are competing for similar range signatures. And if you like Sojourn and find yourself enjoying Sojourn more, then that's a good enough reason as any. So yeah, okay, works for me. And you kind of gave me a good breakdown of when you pick Sojourn, when you pick Cassidy too. So like we're cooking here.
yes,
So uh do you have a warm up routine? Do you use warming up? Do you do anything? Do you just jump right in? I'm not
yeah.
necessarily
So
bullying you here, but I do want to know.
so usually I do the Vaxta um,
Yep. How
game
long?
mode. I'm not sure, maybe like 5-10 minutes, but the
More
big
than long
thing
enough.
is like the big thing is like when I go in and I'm like, man, I'm not hitting shots. I get into like this like big mental battle. I'm like, oh man, like I'm gonna do horrible today. Like it's just I'm not feeling it.
Is
And
this
I'm
in
like,
Vaxta?
yeah.
Wow. Okay. So Vaxta performance affects your mentality about how you expect yourself to play after Vaxta,
Yeah.
excuse me.
I usually kind of keep going until I'm like, okay, I'm not missing like everything.
Interesting. Interesting. How long does that sometimes take?
I mean, yeah, like I said, like maybe max 10 minutes.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. But do you ever find yourself warming up and 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 it's not happening?
No, because I know from your videos like that's not a good idea. So I kind of just like roll with it. I'm like, well, this is what it's gonna be today.
And how good are you at doing that?
At doing what?
Like rolling with it, because you know that you ought
Um,
to, but how good are you at doing it?
it it's really just like day to day difference. Like either Vaxta kind of made no difference and I just hit every shot in a game, or the mental is like overwhelming and I'm just like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I suck. Like, come on. So
Sure.
it really depends. Just I don't know on what.
Okay. 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 Something to kind of keep an eye on then. I want you, I've obviously influenced some of your decisions with how you train, and I'm glad to hear that. But I do want you then to take what actually works for you and experiment more. And if it means shorter Vaxta, more Vaxta, skipping Vaxta entirely, or whatever else, man, it's your call.
Okay.
That's your call. Like you are an educated student here, so that you are allowed to bend the rules to your will as you'd like.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. Now, if you have any questions about that stuff specifically, you can always message me, but don't feel like, oh, you have to stick with the rule. Sounds like you're doing a lot of things well, and that's good to hear. Your goal was to get out of gold and reach platinum 5. Look at that.
Look at that.
My coaching is
Oh,
so freaking good, dude. It just
dude, I
happened.
know.
Like it was, I manifested it to happen. So this is really good.
I
Okay.
will tell you though. I will tell you before we start that
Mm,
I
sorry.
have. I'm looking at my career profile. I had about 80 games won, and I was so hard stuck plat 5, just bouncing in between like I would get like one game away from plat 4, and then something would happen, and I'd be all the way into motion protection, and then maybe hit gold 1 sometimes, and I just go
Was
back and forth.
was there an epiphany, or was it just you just kept beating yourself with a brick wall and eventually
It was
just kind of
just
slowed?
breaking through the wall.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Did your
but like
mentality
once I
shift
did,
in regards to that at all, or is it just the same exact mentality? You just rolled the dice enough, or you just significantly improved? What do you think?
I think probably just roll the dice. Found a good day. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I mean, improvement's slow, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I was talking yesterday, and I was saying that like really your current rank or your current skill is a lagging reflection of your habits 4 or 5 weeks ago, right? Or even more. And so whatever you did at the time of the form or what you improved at, or you're just the patience reflected in where you're at right now. So what you're going to do right now will reflect in a month from now. So at the time of the form, you said positioning, decision-making, understanding. Obviously, we already talked about how you watch a lot and you don't quite have a full understanding of it. So being able to reevaluate maybe a little bit since then, would you highlight anything as being a strength, a weakness, things that you need to be improved on, questions you may have? Shoot.
actually, I have a lot of notes written down. Um,
Oh boy, I'm ready
'Cause I
for it.
honestly don't remember what I said in the original um, thing. So I said I don't have the ability to analyze what's happening in game in real time as a whole. I find myself kind of playing my own game with 1v1s and things like that. I usually am, trying to track as many cooldowns as like many ults, cooldowns, who's alive on my team. But I feel like I kind of play my own game sometimes.
So you're
Um,
saying you don't track what's going wrong or what's going right for like the macro perspective?
I just feel like I'm just making the wrong decisions and I don't know what are the right ones. I can't I
The reason that you're struggling to answer that question is because it's basically an impossible question to answer.
yeah.
So let me give you an example here. When I play a ranked game, I'm often very fixated on doing my job, what my job is. And it takes conscious effort from me to pull myself out of the hero that I'm playing and look at the macro perspective of the map, the compositions, to be able to quote unquote coach my team. Now, I don't do that because, we all know how that goes. But if I'm
Yeah.
interacting with Twitch chat and Twitch chat's like, why are you guys stuck here? Or why are you holding them so well? I actually have to kind of stop and think for a second. And this is my job, okay? Team coaching, and has been for a long time. So I should be very good at it. But it does take an effort to pull myself out of the micro game of playing my character as best I possibly can to actually be a solution to what's going on. That's why swapping is such a dangerous thing, because you don't always know what you should be swapping to, which is why I focus on more like what makes sense with the map. So the reason you're struggling to answer that question is because it's just an impossible question to answer, even if you're experienced for it. What do I need to be aware of that the enemy team is going on? I don't know. Should you be
Yeah.
focusing on the map? Should you be focusing on the old economy? Should you be focusing on the playstyle that your tank, or the playstyle that the enemy tank, or who's the enemy carry, or who's your carry? I mean, come on. I could endlessly farm lazy YouTube educational content with clickbait off of those concepts, but I'm not going to
Yeah.
because it's impossible. It's very difficult. Now, I'm not saying that ult tracking is worthless. It's a very good skill to have, and maybe that's where you can hang your hat. I'm going to practice ult tracking and tracking the ults that specifically affect what I need to do. Or I'm going to practice reading the map and just picking the character depending on what I need to do. Or I'm going to practice looking at the enemy composition, finding one character that may affect how I position: Widowmaker, Reaper, Doomfist, characters that are either going to get threaten you or control sightlines, and then adjust my positioning accordingly to that character. Those are all things that you can work out in isolation, but you shouldn't feel stupid because you can't process all of the variables at the same time. Oh, I'm playing with a Mercy backline, so of course no, just play your game. Play your game.
Yeah. I just feel like for some reason I have to know everything that's going on and just
Well,
be
that doesn't surprise me,
really
given what you said
brilliant
about your
player.
personality, right? Oh, you play. I got to play to improve. This is how I have fun. Yeah, sure, okay. But remember, you
Well, I
got
mean,
to
I
follow
also,
the. No, go ahead.
you know,
Go ahead.
I another big thing is that losing does feel very detrimental. And I know I need to work on that. I'm
Did you
like,
grow up in
well,
a
it's just
competitive family?
yes,
Same. Yeah. Yeah.
sports, you know,
Yeah. 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 Same. Yeah.
school, and
Same. Was it a toxic? Where in the
yeah,
spectrum was it? Toxic, productive? Where in the spectrum? Mine was like mostly productive, a little bit toxic. If
I'd
I'm
say
being
mine
perfectly
was
honest.
I was majority like productive. Like I
Good.
was never pressured.
Good.
I
Good.
I always would just put, pressure on myself.
Why?
And it's a great question.
I mean, I don't want to,
Um,
we don't have to unpack the baggage here, but it's worth
yeah.
considering. Like for me, the reason why I hated losing for such a long time and still do, um, is because I put an unbelievable amount of pressure on myself to always perform at a high level, right? No matter what I do, right?
I agree.
Because when I grew up, my dad used to preach, not talent. He used to, you guys aren't talented, we're not fast, we're not strong, whatever, but you guys will outwork everybody else, right? And so I took a lot of pride in that, and that usually reflected in me playing relatively well. But sometimes it felt like there was a little bit too much emphasis on always playing your best instead of sometimes just enjoying what you're doing. So sometimes having fun felt secondary to trying my hardest at all times. And so I would get very nervous before games.
Mhm. Yes.
And did you struggle with nerves a lot as well?
Yes.
Yeah,
But again, it was only from like proving myself to myself.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So the problem with that is if you've ever noticed people that generally don't choke or generally don't have problems with nerves, or generally the people that are a lot more fun focused and just don't care this much, or they've competed so long that they've just kind of gotten themselves numb to the experience, right?
Mhm.
But the reason that you're putting pressure on yourself is because that's what you enjoy. You enjoy performing. You want to perform the best. So the pressure is not necessarily a bad thing as long as you understand where it's coming from.
Yeah. And another big thing is like not to, toot my own horn, but I've always kind of been like naturally good at things. And so if I'm trying something new and I'm not immediately like amazing at it to my own standards, I'm like,
Ah, so,
I suck. Like I'm done.
your identity is I'm good at everything that I do because everyone, right, that's the identity. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna toot my own horn here. I'm different than you. I'm gonna toot it. That's the same thing with me. I just naturally pick up things well. But you know why it's natural? It's because I feel it's part of my identity. It's part of a self-fulfilling prophecy. You see, I very rarely do something halfway. I'm like, oh, even if it's a freaking board game, I'm like, I'm going full out, man. I'm not going to be toxic. I don't mind losing at all, but I'm going to experiment. I'm really going to learn because that's part of my identity. All right. So here's your solution to that, right? Your identity, you need to narrow your identity. Your identity right now is that I dominate in everything that I do. How about your identity is that you enjoy learning and trying new things and applying yourself to those things, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying that you need to completely reevaluate your entire life from this point here, but like the problem is that if your identity is that I excel at everything that I do, then you're going to create a shell. You're going to avoid things that you know that you're not going to excel at because that would attack your identity.
Yep. Yep.
Like what if Freya comes out next Tuesday and you really like Freya, but to pick up Freya, you'd have to drop to gold again. Could you handle that? You know?
Well, to be honest, I don't really like Freya.
Well, okay, so
But
then that makes the
yeah.
decision easy, but at some point there's going to be a decision in your life, whether it's now or later, where you're going to have to make a choice about what you want to do and if it compromises your identity or not. Because even just the fact of being incapable of failing at something ironically means that you may not excel, because you and I both know that to excel, you're going to have to come to grips with failure, a lot of it,
Yes.
because otherwise you don't put yourself at risk. This is a really common problem, like with the little flag football community that I'm in, and the reason why I stopped taking it so seriously is because the team that I was within locally there were a couple of people that were leading those teams and they just could not handle losing. And so they would do literally everything. They'd talk about how they were winners, but they would avoid basically competing in situations where they might lose because they couldn't handle it. And so it got really toxic, right? And that's kind of like a little microcosm for what you and I can be if we're not careful, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't love to win. You should love to compete. You shouldn't be, my identity is I have to be good at everything that I do. Your identity is that I just like doing different things and trying a lot of different things. And because I like applying myself, I often do get good at those things. But that's a consequence of you being a curious person, not a competitive person. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
The reason why you and I should like competition here, and I'm putting words in your mouth, so I apologize if I'm speaking out of turn here. But the reason that maybe you and I potentially are good at competing is because we like the struggle, not that we like winning. We just like the struggle. Because if I remember I got the most mad I ever got at one of my buddies in high school is when we were playing pickup basketball and like it was like a really sweaty game, and he started just like trolling, just like throwing the bat, like just goofing off it. And I was like, dude, the whole fun is when we try. Like if you're not trying, it's no longer fun for me anymore. I don't enjoy games where people aren't trying. Not because I have to win, but because there's no effort anymore. So like, what's the
There's no
point?
like
It's just,
satisfaction.
yeah,
in
exactly. You know, so I don't know. I don't want to, we don't have to delve any further into that, but I do want to encourage you to try to not see yourself as somebody that has to win and that cannot handle losing it, but as somebody that enjoys the process of winning because it is a consequence of competition. And the competition is real. You are a competitive person. I am a competitive person, but I don't see myself as, gosh, I cannot tell you how hard I cringe when I get into a session. Somebody says, yeah, I can't handle losing. I'm just a winner. Oh, really? Okay. You're a winner. Really? All right. Well, all right. You sound like these like 45-year-old adult softball, these dudes that spend $300 in their softball bats, it's like, okay, buddy, like, you got to tell me about how you almost made D2 football and, back in, 1997. Like
I would have made it if I didn't,
yeah, nobody cares, dude. Nobody cares. Like and you could tell because those people they have done nothing since then because they never take risks. They never do anything. They never try anything because they're so terribly scared of failure. Like, don't let that be you. Don't let that be you. Whether it's Overwatch or not, it's okay to fail. It takes courage to fail, really. That's why most people aren't winners, ironically, is because it takes courage to be a loser and then therefore to be a success. So, okay, that was kind of dramatic. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else from your form here. We could on that note, we could look at a replay code if you'd like.
So I'm kind of a little upset with how the games went yesterday because I was like, man, I've been playing a lot of 6v6. I need to play some Roku for the coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I played about 9 games and all of them we just steamrolled. And I'm like,
just too good.
For
should handicap yourself.
I'm like, well, this isn't good because this is not this isn't showing, my problems. I do have 2 codes.
Well, does it show a reflection of how you normally play, whether you get punished or not?
Yeah.
Okay, well then,
Well, here's the first one.
Okay.
This was kind of we got rolled. This was on Soj.
Ready for battle.
I definitely
Just what I was
a
looking
pretty
for.
interesting game, honestly, and I definitely was playing a little unusual to my usual play style, kind of just in positions and I'm like, where am I? What am I doing?
I mean, it's a weird map, yeah.
Usually this is one of my favorite maps for Soj. I feel like good positioning really just like makes or breaks the game on this map. And so
I would ask
enjoy
you
it.
what good positioning is, but I think you should, if you've studied enough, which you have, you probably should already know. So we're going to go in with a base set of expectations about what you can and can't do. Please tell me you didn't lose to Mildred on Reaper.
Yeah, my tank was like 11-12. My supports were like 5 and 15. It was rough.
Okay. Questions about Sojourn, hit scan, strategy, anything else come to mind?
Honestly,
Or anything we didn't
my
touch on?
my biggest thing for Soj, I don't know when to ult. I feel like I either hold it for way too long or I'm like productive or proactive about it and I use it and I like instantly die or I don't kill anyone and I'm like, well, I am just the worst person on the team. Like, what am I doing? So
It's a
I
little tough, yeah. Go ahead.
feel like I have no like, okay, this happened. Now I can find value with my ult. Like I feel like I just pop it.
Have an
Never.
angle, have a position, then pop it.
Yeah.
Fight starts, have an angle, pop it. If it makes you feel any better, I would say most of your Sojourn ults are not going to be overwhelmingly satisfying. Because anything as loud and as dangerous as Sojourn ult is going to force a response. That response will be to focus you down, in which case you need to play cautiously, or that focus will be to completely obliterate the battlefield because they're running so incredibly fast away from you. In which case you may not have the opportunity to do much more, and that's just how it is. The key thing is to make sure that it costs something, and costs something significant, and that you respond with what you're given.
Okay. Would you say it's better to kind of ult in like the start of the fight or the middle of the fight?
Either.
Or like, okay.
Either. Yeah. I mean, one is going to be the create space for your team force cooldowns, no dopamine for kills. Second is going to be risk letting your team get put in a hole and then you try to dig them out.
Okay.
But we will judge them on a case-by-case basis, and I will make you judge them on a case-by-case basis in this VOD.
Okay.
Oh my days, there's Mildred.
Yeah.
Freaking Mildred.
Thanks for the help.
Sightline?
I was trying to take the where that Soj is, but then there's two of them in the room, so I was like, okay, let me chill.
Dodge this.
Then my aim is also not good this game.
It's okay.
Good knife, honestly.
Yeah. So you were a little late on the rotation.
Yeah.
You got knifed. You missed your disruptor shot. Go next. But I think the angle itself is okay.
I feel like I also kind of play too like skittish.
Elaborate.
I feel like I need to be more aggressive and more
What
confident.
does that mean?
Being sure in my actions, because I like watching my own gameplay. I'm like, I can tell I'm really unsure about like going up there or who I should
Okay.
focus for.
Okay, so what's the concrete solution then? So where was the inconfidence? Where was the unconfidence? Excuse me. Was it here?
When,
Thanks for the help.
yeah, because I was like, I don't know if Reaper's coming back to get me or if Soj sees me. And I'm like, well,
Should you be scared of Reaper?
if he's close to me? Yes. Right there, yeah.
I'll repeat the question. Should you be scared of Reaper now?
No,
So why are you scared of Reaper? Right?
good question.
So you don't have to sit here and be emotional about it. Like, I think this is whenever I work with somebody, it's very common to let emotion kind of come into play when it comes to confidence or non-confidence. But the solution to a lack of confidence or too much confidence is just cold, hard analysis. Reaper is out and or doesn't have Wraith. I shouldn't be scared of Reaper. And even if I am scared of Reaper, I need to make myself take the duel anyway. Sojourn up top. Should you take the Sojourn duel or not? If so, why? If it's not, why not?
Yeah, like right here, I was like, should I slide up to her and kind of get the jump on her, but waste my, escape cooldown, or
Do you need your escape cooldown?
maybe if she diffs me. But again, it's just like confidence, I feel. But
If you slid up here, do you feel an equally skilled Sojourn versus an equally skilled Sojourn? Not you, some other random person, right? Do you have confidence that they could clear the Sojourn out or not get punished?
I think they could clear them out at least.
Why?
Have them
Why?
slide down. Surprise factor, and
Yep.
they're isolated from their team.
So that's it. We're not talking about you. We're talking about a random Sojourn player. Now let's insert you into this situation. Could
I
you
should
do
the
it?
same.
You should. You should. Now, I can already tell that there's probably a part of you that's like, I'm going to choke it.
Yeah.
I'm going to fumble it, right? But you know what? That becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're not a choker. Stop seeing yourself like a choker. You're somebody that recognizes opportunities and takes them. And if you fumble the bag, do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again until you stop being such a coward about it.
Yeah.
If you make the right decision unconfidently, it's still the right decision. If you avoid confrontation, even if it statistically makes the most sense, you're screwing yourself over. Stop
Yeah.
accommodating your poor identity, right? We go back to your identity, right? You see yourself as somebody that chokes or fails and is avoiding to take risks. Well, that sucks. Stop seeing yourself that way. Act like somebody else who you want to be, right? Even if you fail miserably, who cares? It's still the right thing to do. Because the irony is that you seeing yourself as the person that might fumble that, or I don't know if I'm confident enough to take that, is what kills your Orisa. So you seeing yourself as something other than what you could be is why you lose this fight. So would you rather take the right play and risk losing this fight, or would you avoid doing the right play and guarantee losing this fight? Your choice, right?
Yeah.
Your choice.
And
There's
it's
nothing.
Like, plus I have a pocket right now, so I'm like, it's even.
Right. So the even more statistical reason for you to take that duel, right? If we're tracking those things. So
So it was the right play. I just way too
Yes.
late because I
Yes.
was
Yep.
in my head. Yeah.
you nailed it. An overconfident person does the opposite, where their inflated opinion of themselves is such that they fail to see disadvantages, and so then they take stupid duels, right? The example would be an overconfident person not preparing for a game that you and I would over-prepare for and be ridiculously nervous for, even though we're very, very qualified for it, right? An overconfident person would slide into the Reaper. An underconfident person would see Reaper Wraith out, know the Sojourn's still top, nice kill, build rail charge, and still not slide up on that Sojourn, as you're doing right now. Like, you have the element of surprise, you could build rail charge, you can get rid of the Sojourn. Yeah, Mercy Pocket as well. Do it.
Yeah.
But you do notice that you're unwilling to slide there. You're unwilling to slide there.
Yeah, because that's another thing I have written down is I rarely use slide to engage because it's again because of my just confidence in myself. But is it ever good to engage, like use slide to
course.
engage? Because I
Of course.
maybe to like get an angle.
Yeah, to get to another different angle and get to an angle quickly, right? It's often not as necessary when you can walk to a good angle and take your time and set up, and or if you could get dove. But you know the rules, right? You know you're not gonna get punished for this. You know, if there's like an active fight going on, and there's Doomfists and Tracers and so on, you'd probably know that maybe this would be a little bit more risky.
Yeah.
But you're not an idiot. You know, this is fine. This would be a conversation that I would maybe need to have more in depth with, a silver player, right? But you're not a silver player. You know exactly how to use slide for the most part. You just need to trust your instincts. Now, I'm obviously making some assumptions there. If there is any specific questions as you've asked, feel free to ask.
Yeah.
You need to get off of cart. You already have one on cart.
I know. I don't want to be on cart right now. Literally, like in my head right there, I'm like, I don't want to be on cart, but
Yeah, you shouldn't. There was the number 2 on the top. So somebody else was pushing cart. Leave. I understand if it has to be you, then sure. But there's no reason for it to be you here.
it's like if I wasn't on cart, I would have went to like kind of where I am now to kind of swing wide.
Yeah, this is great. This is good.
But it was it was too late because I was on cart.
It's all right.
And
You guys got the res. We're good. Okay. Good disruptor shot. That's kind of more of an audio cue than actually seeing where it was aimed. You need to retake your angle here, and you need to do so quickly. Right? So you slid out because Junk Queen ult. You need to just walk back and just go back and resume your pressure. Right?
Yeah.
Your space control and angle control is unforgivable. Especially given how well you started, right? You swung wide, slid out, which was a mistake, but understandable, and then proceeded to just kind of cowardly back off. Now, I understand it's a 4v5, but your team is clearly not disengaging, so you have to make a choice here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like,
Your Ash.
Bash. I was like, Bash.
Nice shot. A little miscalculated on the break point, but I mean, it was so close, right? Like, it was just a tiny bit off.
Yeah.
It's okay. What would a confident Sojourn do, given the fact that most of your team is here?
Top.
Right. Is it worth the risk?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so too.
I usually do like make that play. I don't know why I didn't hear.
Well, Reaper may be there. Nice. Well done. Good stuff. A little unfortunate, but it was honestly fine. Thank goodness your team is off the freaking Malga character. Worthless waste of oxygen tank hero. And I don't know why people swap to him.
I was like, "Ooh, that's scary."
If you popped ult here, I wouldn't be mad. 2 reasons why. You tell me.
It kind of evens the playing field.
Oh, it's more than evens the playing field, right? Like, look at your perk, right?
Yeah.
You don't know that she has that perk, but you could press tab and check, right? But number 2, and maybe even more importantly, who is the better position here?
I do.
You do. Right. You don't have to. I assume this is more of a, I could just hide. And I actually think that that's probably fine. But your call.
I don't remember what I do. Oh, I peek and I think I die. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is dumb, right? You didn't even the playing field. I mean, you even had here, the funny thing is you actually could have peeked and just shot her like, because you're building rail charge here, like just freaking rail right now. You were trying to build up to a rail that you already had, right? So this might have just been a mechanical error. It happens. Go next. Okay, I like your disruptor shots so far for the most part. It seems like you have some intention behind them. What do you think about the Sojourn ult? What do you think about the Sojourn ult? Do you have a good angle? Is the fight starting?
It's starting. I really wanted that Mercy.
Stop. Well, do you have good vision? Will you have good vision?
I will if
Yes.
I turn the corner.
Yes. So ult is great. Excellent.
But I
Perfect.
really wasn't confident in this. I pushed the button because I'm like, I need to push this button. And I was like, hopefully I get value out of this because I'm just like, I don't know. Again, because I was like, I just don't know when the right time to ult is.
Yeah, this is perfect.
And I'm too scared of holding on for it too long.
Sure.
Like,
Sure. This is good. This is. I don't care if this is done through fear or confidence or whatever. This was a well-timed rip. This is perfect. Let it rip. Let's go. Wizard.
Then I should have.
This is great. Come on. Give yourself some credit. Well done. See, this is the thing here. You should feel good about this. It wasn't done perfectly, of course, and nothing ever is, right? But it was well timed. It was well set up. It was a great shot. Good respect given to that Sojourn, considering the fact that she has rail. You chunk her out. She forces her out. You slide away from Moira, which is a little unfortunate, but it's okay. And then you... And another good shot. Good job. Like, not just good mechanics, but also good setup, good patience. Good stuff. Good timing. Well done. If you add a disclaimer to every good achievement that you ever do, you just completely ruin the enjoyment of what you're doing.
I know.
You know, like, I'm not sitting here trying to give you participation trophies, right? Listen, I'm the last person to do that, okay? But this was good. This was not just good mechanically, like, oh, flashy explosions and, you know, whatever. This is also just, it was, for considering that you were like, I don't know how to use or when to use ultimate, you just gave a textbook example of how and when to use the ultimate. Okay? Good stuff. Right? You should feel proud of that one. Because you simply timed it well and then just try to set up an angle for it. And you succeeded.
I don't know what that Mercy is doing.
I don't know. That is
I forgot to mention, this was a, I think, gold 3 or gold 4 to diamond 5 game.
Oh my gaze. That makes a lot more sense here. Any questions so far?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so it's good. I like this position here. More attention on the Reaper, please.
Yeah.
The fact that he was kind of like walked up to you for free, and then obviously the disruptor shot was not good.
Yeah.
Is annoying. just because the Junk Cocoon was so much further away, you know, like it just seemed like an odd choice. I see a lot of Sojourns fall into this habit because they're used to farming rail off of tank, that they just stop thinking about what to shoot. So that is something worth evaluating, is when you're on your angle, shoot whatever's convenient, of course. But if there is a squishy, prioritize squishy. And just because you're Sojourn doesn't mean that you break those rules. You follow the rules. Yeah, maybe you'll build rail 2% slower, but the damage will actually matter along the way, right? And the fact that this Reaper cleared you out of that angle, and you, like, because you didn't have Disruptor Shot, because, like, this is criminal, like, actually criminal. Like, that Reaper race should have been forced out. He should be sitting, like, with his tail between his legs over here, while you're just raining fire down to Junker Queen or whatever else from here, right? It's frustrating. Okay. Fine, just reset. Okay. This is the retake of Misery.
Disruptor shot, I don't know.
I mean, it was fine. Like, it's a spot. You're like, yo, this spot needs to go away. So, yeah, so it's like, all right, you know, it's like, okay, sure. Like, let's not lie here. This clears a lot of, I mean, look at this, right? Look at this conga line. That's your Disruptor Shot. So it doesn't get a lot of damage. It's kind of ugly, you know, but it does the job. So, you know, again, you got to be objective about things here, right? Whether you're calculating the risk of whether you should go for an engagement or not, the confidence thing, right? You also have to judge yourself off of, did this have good intentions? Was this intended to do, did this do what I wanted it to do? Was this a good decision? And I think the answer is yes. That was horrendous, but that's okay. This is good. Good flank.
This ends now.
Thoughts?
Really risky, but it could work.
It could work, sure could. You have an angle that's timed well. You're down one, but like, if you're gonna clutch this fight, it's gonna be from this. And let's be honest, this is a hard point to retake. So I'm going to give this a, you know, R for risky, but sure. Okay. Good luck.
I don't think it went that well, if I remember.
You just lost Mercy. If you kill Mercy here, this is winnable. War Warrior,
actually. I was really trying to find her.
Hang on. This was totally worth. Just don't die.
I did die, I think. Yeah, I did.
You need to get your next angle, I think, is a problem.
Yeah. Should have slid up.
Yeah, then that rail really needs to hit the Mercy.
Yeah, and then I slid in the room. I don't know.
Yeah, so this is silly. Like, your angle after the ult was what was silly. The ult itself was great. So for your big major question, you're now 2 for 2 in your ults, right? Good stuff. You do know how to use your ultimate. Well done. All right, let's see this.
That was no reason for me to do that.
Yeah, there's some of these Disruptor Shots have been pretty ugly, a little bit rushed, either on targets that aren't taking anything or locations that don't matter. Rushed rail.
Yeah.
Rushed rail. I could feel the panic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is your cook.
This game, I was definitely fell for the it's overtime panic. Everyone on the cart.
Yep. Yep. You know the terms.
Yeah, I will say that that's kind of unusual. I feel like I usually, if I'm, you know, if there's other people on the cart and it's overtime, I'm not going to be on the cart.
Sure. Okay. But that's also the second time you said that this attack, so it's worth keeping an eye on. What needs to be done better so far? Objective measures. Don't say confidence. Don't say no words like that. Only objective measures. What needs to be done better?
Retaking angles, and
so thinking about angles mid-fight, not just to set up, because you'll get cleared, whether earned or not. That happened even on first point, and you just don't go back again. You just kind of stand there.
Yeah.
Okay,
I do notice that with myself, with any character. Like, I do set up, but then during the fight and when it's going on, everything kind of just goes out the window.
Right. Too many things to think about, so we'll think about just that one in a certain percentage of your games. What else?
Yeah. Disruptor shot.
Wasn't bad, but had some really ugly moments. When it was ugly, was there a consistent theme or factor? What needs to be done better?
Just having some of those didn't really have a lot of intention. Most
Agreed.
of the bad ones.
Agreed.
I think my thought process would probably as much pressure as I can, but it's not. With that cooldown, it can really help make space. So I need to kind of save it for better moments.
Agreed.
Or
Retaking
people
angles, disruptor shot, a little bit more intention. Anything else? What was done well so far?
Apparently my ults.
Apparently your ults. Yeah. Initial setups when you
Initial setup.
read the opportunities correctly. Like first fight was really bad, right? Not pressuring the Sojourn out at all. Content to just sit on the floor. But then once you were given a little bit more space, your setups are really good. Mechanics, okay. They're fine. They're exactly pretty much what you'd expect for somebody of your rank. Any questions?
No.
Okay, let's go. Setup, it's fine. Obviously, very important that you know whether they're on Widowmaker or not, but other than that, it's fine. Disruptor shot is intentional. It's fine.
The enemy's got a turret.
I definitely put pressure on that Torb turret. So that's just more of a question of target priority there.
Yeah.
Area denial.
My aim is
And
really
it's jittery, and it's also another one of those mid-fight situations where you've given up so much space again, right? Like, again, I understand your Mercy's dead, so maybe you want to play a little bit cautiously, but this seems a little bit too much space given up. Maybe we could continue to hold that right high ground from cover.
Railgun powered and ready to fire. They're moving the payload. Shut it down. There's the enemy.
I think I moved from where I originally was because I was like, I feel like I'm isolated, and maybe I just need to use.
What does isolated mean?
I'm everyone else is down main on the ground, and I'm.
Isn't that the entire intention of an off angle?
Yeah, but I wasn't like using cover. I was like,
See, that's it. That's it right there. That's it. I got you to say what you really need to say. Yeah. So isolated means nothing. Isolated could mean I can't get healing from my supports. Okay, maybe that's worth factoring in, but that wasn't the case there. Obviously, right? You could get healing from your Juno. The problem was that you were on an angle without cover. So when you were isolated, you meant you were in the open.
Yeah.
I agree, but that doesn't mean that you have to go all the way back to the bridge. You can hold a door frame or something along those lines, right?
Yeah, I should have, when I was full health, I should have gone back to that angle instead of.
Yep. Agreed. Good stuff. Sure, it's a good try. Headshots, I think that gets the kill. Where should you be now? Where should you be moving to? Because this is the moment of truth, right? This is where you've sucked for a long time.
Yeah. To the left, probably.
Scary, right? But you got to do it. And you got to do it with cover. You're thinking about it. Love to see it. Love to see it.
And again, I notice now, like, instead of kind of focusing on someone, I feel like when they're all like jumbled up, I'm like, I don't know, I'm shooting. I need to like focus on somebody.
See, you're coaching yourself. I didn't even mention that. Good stuff. So when you see the clump, don't just think rail charge. Think, I'm going to build rail charge off of this person's head. Whether that's Zarya or a Bastion or whatever. Now, Zarya could be hero, okay, because they're hiding behind cart, but even going for the Bastion there would have been fine too. Yeah, good pickup there. Absolutely. Write it down, type it up, put it on the poster. Good stuff. We do need to try to retake that angle, though, because the irony is when we fell back, we actually fell back into taking more poke. And then now, honestly, okay, this is better. No. We have to walk. We have to walk. Now, this one is not as obvious because that Zarya has kind of filled that space. So you tell me, where do you go?
I maybe slide up on top of those stairs.
Oh, you should never slide to an angle, right? Absolutely.
Well, I do.
Absolutely.
If I slide to an angle, I do
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Absolutely. Great recognition. You're 100% right. You slide here, you're cooking. Now you got to be super ratty and hide and shoot the Zarya in the back and tuck in here, maybe even grab the Mega. Yeah, but that's what your team needs right now. We need that pressure. Otherwise, Zarya's just going to murder you guys.
Yeah.
It just feels terrible.
No,
I mean, this is
I don't know
something.
what
I mean, it's something. It's trying to come up with an angle. It's just not the best. It's okay.
And then I was like, wow. Yeah.
You should have ulted.
Why should what? Because they were down the tank, and she's rezzing.
I mean, this is an active fight. Use the ult. Finish her off, right?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? This fight is going. Even post res here. Disrupt shot's fine. Let it rip. Let's go. Yeah, let's do it.
I just, yeah, bad.
Bad
really
what? Bad what though? Bad what?
I didn't kill anybody. I didn't really do anything. I think I just charged her more than anything.
Well, okay. So what needed to be done differently here?
Well, I needed just to be at a different angle entirely.
Entirely, but you're not. So what do you do from here?
I was like, I shouldn't shoot at the tank. Let me shoot at the Mercy because that's a lot.
It's fine to shoot at the tank. Just make sure that you shoot the tank. Just missed all your shots.
Yeah.
Okay, so why did you miss all your shots? Is it a mechanical thing? Is it a panic thing? Is it a stress thing?
It's definitely a panic and stress thing because I'm like, I am in the wrong position.
Sure. It happens. But you know what? You can still win the fight. Relax. Because you know what was good? The ult timing. Very reasonable ultimate. So win with it. Put it away. Force yourself to relax a little bit here. All right? Because I look at this here, and if you hit literally one more shot on this Zarya, she's dead. One more. Do you get what I'm saying? The ult angle was bad. You should have set up elsewhere. You should have probably shot the Mercy first. And then you just needed to hit any shots. But the actual timing of the ultimate was pretty reasonable. Even here, you see like your complete... I mean, at this point, it's really hard to think of another angle, but...
Yeah, I was gonna like, where should I go right now?
Yeah, it's kind of too late to do anything. And maybe you could slide top left here, potentially like way up, like coming from your spawn, right? So up here, maybe. But to be honest with you, it's kind of too late. You just need to hit a shot, right? So like this right here, 855 charge, 60 charge. I mean, you just have to hit that, right? You need to hit that. At some point, when you make so many mistakes back to back to back, there is no comeback. It's over, right? It's the point. It's lost. It's lost. But the nice thing is that there has been multiple opportunities. You could have taken the angle sooner. You could have killed the Rezzing Mercy. You could have ulted sooner and killed the Rezzing Mercy. You could have ulted and then actually shot the Mercy, or could have actually shot the Zarya, or hit a single shot. You could have then, after the rail, actually shot the Mercy afterwards. Like the fourth time we could have killed the Mercy. And the reason why you didn't is, number one, you struggle with retaking space. And number two, when you make a mistake or things get hectic, you start to doubt yourself, second guess yourself, and everything goes out the window.
Yep, I agree.
So, work at that. Practice as best as you possibly can, thinking about what needs to be done. And you notice that when we talk about, oh, you need to calm down a little bit. Well, the way that we're going to try to improve that is when things get really hectic, fixate on where do I need to be? Or am I relaxing and focusing on my mechanics? Right? That's what I want to see.
I will say that my panic level and kind of panic level, it really is dependent on just how the game's going overall. Like if we're like rolling them, obviously I'm going to be a lot more composed and confident, and not to say confident again, more level-headed and just sure of my
of course. Everyone's like that, right? Everyone's like that, right? I want to point out that this isn't necessarily like, oh, there's something wrong with you. That's not the case at all. This is just normal. People are like this, right? But if you want to move past this, this seems to be a shortcoming that you need to develop to move past this, right? Most people are in some way like you and myself, but they never move past that. And that's why they're, silver and gold and bronze, even though they put a lot of hours in, right? You have to be willing to take the risk. You have to be able to kind of keep your head level under these moments of pressure. Like right now, the last fight went really terribly. This is last fight. And yet here you are on a flank. Most hitscan players wouldn't have the guts to do this. And yet, is this, again, we're not using confident, is this a correct play with what information that you have right now?
I'd say it's okay.
Yeah, you've got some range. You've got full rail charge. You have your slide. Your team is fighting. This is good. This is not a confident play. This is an analytically correct play. Well done. Almost. Like fraction of a second. You want to see how close I came to killing her? Let's enjoy this. Hey, this is like Ultra Instinct moment right here. Bam. Like literally pixel.
Wow.
Insane. I actually have to see this again. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's 0.25 speed right there. Good stuff.
Shouldn't.
That, can I be honest with you? Unlucky, go next. That guy deserves a gold star for that. That's crazy. The difference is he took an angle and it worked. You took an angle and it didn't work, and it was just the margin of error was tiny. It's also easier for Tor because he has his own sustain cooldown, and then you just were so surprised that you couldn't even get out. But yeah, that's it. Get rolled. I wonder who the diamond player was in this lobby.
Vantorp.
Probably this guy. But you know what? That's kind of where you can go like, okay, go next, right? You made the right play. You were a little bit slow, and then you got smoked by somebody who did the same play. But there's no like strategic or habitual failures there. It's just unfortunate. Go next. So let's see. What would you say are the habits that need to be done better, objectively, from an objective standpoint here? What needs to be something that you can practice on your own?
I think top of my list is retaking angles in a fight.
Okay. I'll write this down or type this up.
Easily.
So retake your initial setup is good, but as fights evolve, you forget to think about your next angle. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's keep going. Now, also notice that a lot of your problems seem to go when things go wrong mid-fight, this falls out the door. You notice that?
Yeah.
That happens a lot. Okay, keep going.
A disruptor shot. We already went, but just having more intention with it sometimes instead of just throwing it. Mechanical, I mean, that was just a rough game, but maybe be more faster, because I noticed that it'd be kind of the right play, but it's way too late.
In regards to what?
Taking angle or just killing somebody, just taking the shot.
Sure. Sure. I want you to still think things through, but if you think you've thought it through and it's the right play, then I want you to remove hesitation and just to go.
Yeah.
And if it fails, then not in the moment, but after the fact, look at the replay and look at that specific moment and ask yourself, why did it go wrong? Was it a good decision? Did it just get unlucky? Was it done poorly? Was it a wrong analysis? You understand what I'm saying? That's what I want to see from you. Okay. What else?
I'm blanking.
Those are the big ones for sure. I'm digging for little tiny nuggets here. So what was done well? Ults, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, come on, say it with your chest. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Your ults,
Yes.
this game, were objectively, this isn't like some confidence game here. You need to practice being analytical of yourself. And that means being honest about what is not good and what is good. This whole mindset of like, oh, nothing is ever good enough is just foolishness. You need to have the maturity to go, yeah, I suck at this. And you also need to have the maturity of going, yeah, I'm actually pretty good at that, right? That's not flattery. That's not pride. That's just correct. What color hair do you have?
Blonde.
Blonde. Is that a prideful thing? No, it's just
No.
blonde. It just is. Okay. So that's what it is. Okay. So you are a high platinum hit scan player. That puts you better than 65, 70% of the player base. That's not ego. That's just statistical fact. Your ults were relatively well thought up and well timed, with the exception of the one that was a little bit panicked and not as well set up on first defense, which honestly in the moment kind of made sense, which was crazy enough, right? So your ults were fine. Your initial setup on angles, I've coached a lot of Sojourn. A lot of Platinum Sojourns don't do as good of a job on your initial setup phase. It's pretty darn good. Good stuff. The reason why being aware of your strengths is good is so that you know where you can fixate your attention onto elsewhere. And also so that you're not sitting there thinking, oh no, I don't know if I'm timing this ult right. No, you are. Keep it up. Stick with that habit. That's good. Doesn't mean that you can't be better. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have some bad ult games. But for the most part, your gut instinct is accurate. Keep it up.
Okay.
Good stuff. Strengths, timing of your ults, strengths, initial setup phase, weaknesses, mid-fight positional stuff, weaknesses, opportunities, like statistical, like whether they're duels or whatever, and being deliberate with your disruptor shots. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. It was lovely working with you.